Ladies and gentlemen, this is the podcast of Jacob D'Angelio, Landry McClure, and Eric D'Angelio. Say what's up, y'all.
Hey guys, I'm Eric.
In this podcast, we're going to be discussing Call of Duty Black Ops 4 and the company behind it and the publishing company.
Controversy.
Few points I'd like to make about the company. First off, there are multiple developers of each Call of Duty. There is Treyarch, Sledgehammer, and Infinity Ward. The game we're going to be discussing was made by Treyarch, and the publishing company is Activision. Activision is not only known for Call of Duty, but many other AAA titles. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's begin. First off, Activision is the publishing company. They make all the Call of Duty games. They, like Rockstar, were a huge success when Call of Duty released in 2003. This was a first-person shooter, and it was revolutionary at the time. This is one of the best first-person shooters ever, and my personal favorite Call of Duty is Modern Warfare. Modern Warfare 2 specifically is one of the best games, one of the best Call of Duty games, I think. And I think it started to slide downhill after, I'd say, 2011, 2015, 2013. Okay, so this year, Treyarch released a game called Call of Duty Black Ops 4. Now, every year, Call of Duty was released the first week of November, every single year prior to this game. This game was actually released October 12th. Now, my first point on this game is the release. I think one of the main points is, if you were to release a game that people pre-ordered to get early access, you would think that the game would be 100% complete. Glitches, bugs, crashes, etc. should be out of the way if they were to release it almost a month earlier.
Yeah, that kind of goes without saying, you'd think. It kind of seems like a penny-pinching attempt by Treyarch and Infinity Ward to just go in and release said X weeks earlier just so they could get, those few extra 12-year-olds dollars. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous.
What do you say, Eric?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it was, instead of to support the fans, it's more of a money grabber type of thing, where instead of focusing on the game, just quickly get that game out as fast as possible and try to make as most money as possible with little time going into the game. So it goes to show that not only do they not respect the fans and the people that support their game, and some have been supporting their game for about 10 years now, but also they don't even take the time to fix any bugs in the game, and that just shows how stingy the development has become in the past couple of years.
Okay, so this is a negative review on the game, so now that first point is out of the way, let's talk about a few positive things. There are some really cool things about this game, besides it being a total flop in my opinion. The Zombies mode this year, very creative and very innovative. I think it's a pretty fun Zombies mode. Aside from the negatives, it consists of 4 maps: 9, 5, Blood of the Dead, and Voyage of Despair. 9 is a map that takes place in Coliseum. The point of zombies is to survive as many rounds as you can. That has been the main thing for all zombies. 9 has a specialist weapon. Next map is Blood of the Dead. Takes place in a prison, Alcatraz specifically, Land Point in San Francisco. Next map is Voyage of Despair. This takes place on a sinking Titanic, which is really cool, really good ideas. I think they were going for really creative ideas, but in the end, it didn't work out.
Left something to be desired. Definitely.
Okay, so I feel like there are some positives. I think the idea of it is creative. I think the maps are creative, but all this positive is completely outweighed by the bugs. Everything else about this game is just a disappointment to a AAA title. Okay, one main huge problem with this game is it feels recycled. The multiplayer, it feels like the game we've seen before. It feels like Black Ops 3. It flows. I know it's the same engine, but at the same time, it doesn't feel any different. It feels like it's like in a sports game. They update the rosters. In this case, they update the guns. They change a few maps here and there, but other than that, nothing really new.
Also, Black Ops 4, isn't it supposed to be kind of like, in a sense, a literal revamp of their prior game?
Yes.
I mean, I understand it's supposed to be a revamp. It's supposed to be bringing it back, but the whole thing is just so used. It's the same weapons, the same people, the same maps. It looks the same, it feels the same glitchiness, the same everything. Very disappointing.
Yeah, I think the ideas that were put into it were cool, but the thing about that is it's just pen on paper. The ideas that they had were good, but when you put it into contrast and when the game actually became developed, those ideas kind of just sunk in with the glitchiness and the recycledness of the game. The ideas are not bad, it's just how they come to reform these ideas and to create this game, because it just feels like a recycled another Call of Duty game, which is something that they've been doing for quite a while now.
Okay, so to finish this point, I think that it feels recycled. This whole multiplayer feels completely recycled. It doesn't feel new, and it's straight boring. Now, my other point is the zombies mode. Now, you can go look up how many crashes there are with these games, and it is just astounding. You cannot maintain 8 hours of gameplay without the game crashing. I think this is a disgrace for the people who like to go far in zombies mode, because we were promised that there would be no crashes on high rounds, and they have released several patches, and yet the crashing still continues. And another point is 2 of the 4 maps are revamped. They are maps we have played before. They just tweaked a few bit and brought them back. I just think that that's lazy in my opinion. I think if you have to remake maps and bring them back, I think that's lazy. And another thing is, they give you 3 maps. The 4th map, called Classified, is only available to Season Pass holders. Now, Season Pass holders require a $50 Season Pass. That is $50 on top of the $60 you had already paid for this game. I just think that is ridiculous. I cannot see paying $110 for a buggy, unfinished game that was released a month early compared to every other Call of Duty that came out. Landry, what do you say about that?
Well, I mean, it pretty much speaks for itself, like the whole recycled bit. I mean, this is something that we've seen commonly. Call of Duty, the franchise especially, is very infamous with the way that they recycle games. After the second installation of Black Ops 2, I mean, it's just copy and pasting. It's the same looking stuff, the same feel, the same exact, gameplay. There's no variation in it. There have been 18 Call of Duty games released. 18. And they release a new one every year, and in some cases, 2 in a year. They know that their games aren't going to last, but they rely on the people that will buy it year after year, because they always know that demographic will be there. So what they're going to do is they're going to rely, and they're going to chew something up, they're going to spit it out back in front of us and say, brand new game, hand over $110 for the same stuff you paid for 18 other times. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, another point I actually want to make is I think it's also a disgrace to the players as well as the people who actually make money by playing these games. The whole platform with YouTube and maybe like Twitch and other platforms where you can actually play this game and get paid off of it. It's actually kind of a disgrace that these companies that Treyarch and these producers are actually paying people to play these games, and they're a huge letdown for these people that are getting paid to play these games. It's a disgrace to the players as well as the long-time supporters. I mean, there's some people that have been supporting this game for over 10 years, and they still want to see some changes, but each year it's the same recycled crap. And I just think that's a disgrace to the players.
So me personally, I've been a huge fan of the franchise since I played Modern Warfare 2, maybe 7 years ago I think, and I was a huge fan of Call of Duty then. Black Ops 2, I played the heck out of that game. I really enjoyed that game, and I felt like when Modern Warfare 2 came out, it was not just about money, it was more about they cared about the people who were buying the games. And now I think that they realize how much profit they can make off pumping one every year. They're just trying to make a profit now, and I just think that's ridiculous. And another thing, this game actually had 3 years in developing. 3 years. So we got Black Ops 3 years ago, November 4th or 6th, one of those days. So you would think after 3 years and an early development that it would have minor, maybe the smallest little issues. However, it doesn't look good. The graphics aren't any improvement. The guns are the same. The multiplayer's recycled. They remade maps.
It's 2018 and the graphics look like I'm playing on a Nintendo 64. I can count the pixels on my screen. It's ridiculous. I mean, 2018, you expect graphics that immerse you visually and like you can't pull yourself away. But it's such a major letdown. Like, I would have a more fun time looking through the camera of an iPhone 4 looking at grass blades than I would playing this game.
Yeah, I agree. The graphics need to change. I mean, especially since it's 2018, as Landry said. I mean, these games have gotten to the point where it's almost easy to make good graphics. And especially other games, as Landry talked about in his own review with Red Dead Redemption 2, the graphics are phenomenal. So why is it that Call of Duty can't release just a little bit better in the graphics side of things? It's just laziness, and that's what this company is based off of.
Come on, it's a multi-billion-dollar company. They can afford the extra few bucks to just make their players, you know, a little satisfied with $110 they just dropped on the game, rather than handing us the same chewed-up, spit-out garbage that they release year after year.
You know, I just think it's ridiculous. Let's compare Activision, Treyarch to, they're both AAA, to Rockstar, which is also AAA. Both one of the most popular franchise releasing games of all time, GTA, Red Dead, Call of Duty, all of those have boomed the market in video games. Now, the difference between Call of Duty and GTA and Red Dead is GTA, yes, it has bugs, but they have a team on top of it. They patch them every time they come out. Now, Call of Duty promised that there would be no bugs, there would be no crashes, and we got release date, and still to this day, December, still people cannot open the game and play a little bit without it crashing. And they are a AAA studio. May I remind you, worth billions of dollars. They are a billion-dollar company. They make millions off of every Call of Duty, and I just think with all that money and 3 years of development, that you would release a stable game. That is one of the main points of why this game is a flop. It's not stable. It can't, it's a AAA studio. It runs on a perfectly good engine. You would think that it would be a stable game with minor glitches and bugs that could be fixed within a day.
In case we didn't mention, this billion-dollar studio is worldwide. They sell this all across the globe. Every corner. Every nation can buy their games, and they still have the audacity to just give us this trash over and over. Something I feel like I need to personally touch on is a big aspect of really what got Call of Duty started, their single-player capabilities. Let me tell you, I could not be more disappointed. Yes, this is a negative review, but this is all very factual. The game's single-player leaves so much to be desired. Its predecessor, Black Ops 3, was one of the worst, if not the worst, game released by this franchise, according to, IGN. And they still haven't improved. The single player is atrocious. The fact that I can look at it and play and be like, have I done this before? There is no originality. There's nothing there to it. There's no credit I can give this. I mean, there may be one thing they did right, but I still can't find it.
You could also compare the two companies. I'd like to compare it to EA, because EA is similar in the regard that they release games yearly, but the thing is, with EA, specifically Battlefield, they're two similar types of games as both first-person shooters. The thing that EA differs between Treyarch and Activision and the other company is that EA actually takes the time to fix the bugs and produce actually a stable game. The thing, the Treyarch and the other producers of the game, they can't grasp the idea of producing a stable game for the fans. And these fans love Call of Duty, and not just Black Ops itself or Modern Warfare. They love the company itself because they used to produce such stable games. But in the past couple of years, since I'd say, what would you say, Landry?
Well, to touch on what you just said, I mean, Eric, you did compare them to EA, and comparing this AAA studio to EA, and saying EA is the good guy, I mean, it's kind of a crime in itself. I'm not trying to throw shade or anything, but EA is a very similar company in the way that they chew up the same game and spit it out. Although they have made efforts to resolve their game's issues, like in Battlefield 1, their most recent release, they fixed that and they patched it. Not saying it's an excellent game because that also left much to be desired, but Treyarch is the ultimate bad guy. They don't fix it. They know their demographics so well that they can sell it to the same people and they will buy it because of what Jacob said. We're nostalgic. Like, we had these games 3 years ago that really blew our mind, such as Modern Warfare. That franchise, the best franchise of Call of Duty I've ever played. But the fact that they can't come up from that, they can't compare themselves to that anymore. They have fallen so far down this studio ladder, they are now looked down upon by every single developer. They're the laughingstock of any studio in history.
Agreed. And this year, we actually didn't even get a campaign, which is kind of different. You know, every Call of Duty prior to Black Ops 4 has had a campaign, and this was a letdown to the people who find the campaigns enjoyable. I really like the Call of Duty campaigns. I think they're always pretty fun. They're not the best, but it adds to the 2 game modes and it adds to what they have. And this year they released a game mode called Blackout. It's essentially a Battle Royale mode. Battle Royale has become popular. Everyone knows about Fortnite. They grew the Battle Royale mode. So now Battlefield, Call of Duty, they're all adding this in. And I've played Blackout and I can say it's not fun. It's just, it feels like Call of Duty multiplayer in a big open world with 100 people. It's not good.
Here's the facts of that statement. They know their demographic. Like I said, their demographic is young kids that will spend the same kind of $100 year after year, and they're pandering to their audience. I mean, in a way, it's kind of a genius marketing scheme because they know what their audience likes. But they're doing it so poorly that their 12-year-old audience, their demographic of young kids that pay this amount, they're disappointed. The demographic that's pleased by the game Fortnite is disappointed in the recent Call of Duty release. I mean, that's just an insane statement to make.
So we've discussed a few points, and I think if anyone would play this game, I think if someone were to enjoy this game, it'd be someone with no prior knowledge to Call of Duty, no prior knowledge to video games, something to play with your friends. That's kind of fun, but it's a bad game. So overall, we discussed how it is a recycled multiplayer. We did not receive a campaign. The zombies had 2 maps that were revamped, and they make you pay $50 for the 4th map. Overall, Activision, Treyarch, Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer, they all just scheme. They want money. They just want money, and they know that if they slap a Call of Duty title on it, people are going to buy it. That's marketing. But I think that they started off caring about who was going to play these games. They really cared about their fan base. Now it's just slap a Call of Duty title on it, release it every year, and make money. They don't care about the people who play it. They don't care about the people who invest time into it. They don't care about the people who make videos about it and get their income off it. They just want to slap Call of Duty on it and sell it. And I think overall, I think this company will slowly start to die down in the future, hopefully, unless they don't do something to change it. So overall, they're just a money-making company. They're AAA. They can't release a stable game. They just want to slap the name on it and sell it. And I just think that's typical now. You know, we're investing in these games now. We used to buy a game, pay the amount of money, and we'd get a full stable game. You wouldn't have to buy anything else. You just get the game. Nowadays, you pay $60, but that's not enough because you have to buy $50 for the full game. Technically, it's not a full game because if it was a full game, you wouldn't have to pay $50 for other maps that are coming out in the future. So overall, this is just my main thing with video games in general. Not just Activision, a lot of other companies, you invest. It's an investment. You invest money into a game, you don't buy it anymore. You don't pay it and get it, you invest as it progresses. And I think that, I don't think it'll ever change. I think we'll always be spending extra money after the amount we paid for the game. And I think that, to wrap it up, I think that just sums it all up. I just think they just try to make money. I think it really speaks for the people who actually care about this game. Me, myself, my friends, we used to love playing Call of Duty. Now, none of us like it anymore. So I think, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I want to touch on one last thing before we close out of here. There is one good thing that Call of Duty can do, and they do it year-round. I failed to mention this because this topic, honestly, is just so easy to get negative on. It's very easy. But the only good thing that I think they do is the fact that you can play it with an amount of people on the same screen. That's one thing they've been able to do well. You can have a split screen option and you can play with your friends in the same house, on the same couch. You know, the couch co-op, something that is sought after. But Call of Duty has perfected that over the years. That's the only good thing I can say about that, is they know how to please a small party of 3 people.
Well, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening.
And I think Jake has to give a grade on it now.
Alright. If I were to rate this game, I would give it a 3 out of 10. The 7 other things it does not get right. What it does get right is creativity. The maps were a little bit creative in the zombies. However, they did remap some. Multiplayer maps were creative, but the multiplayer itself is reskinned. So overall, they get a 3 for creativity. But that's about it. So, thank you.